Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Ask the Email Expert. I'm Victoria, your host, and I'm here with Megan Lee. Megan, please feel free to introduce yourself to our audience. I know I gave an introduction before, but I'd love for them to hear it from you as well.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Lee, Content Marketing Manager at Litmus. I have been in email marketing, doing strategy and all of that fun stuff for over 10 years now. Writing and telling content stories and all of that about email marketing at Litmus. So it's been great to be able to use my experience working on some really fun things like state of email and all of that.
Nice. So let's just jump right into it. I asked all my email experts this. What is your relationship with your inbox like? And what's your favorite productivity tip for you to get work done in your inbox?
My relationship with my inbox is terrible, especially considering that I am an email marketer.
That's usually the general answer I get from most email experts, which is surprising, still surprising.
Yeah, I mean, I like to think that I'm pretty organized. And so I start out that way, but then it just gets to be too much. And then now I think I'm like at over 15,000 emails in my personal inbox, and then probably like over 1,000 in my work inbox. So I hope I'm not missing anything important. And if I was, then maybe someone else would like email me again about it. But I don't live my work day through my inbox. We use messaging apps and stuff, but the way that I like to start my day actually is by looking at my calendar and then also looking at our project management tool. And I like to actually write everything down. So it kind of like puts it in my head, like this is the thing, these are the things that I need to do. So even though it's all online, there's just something about putting it to paper that makes me feel like I can check it off and like, yes, these are the things that I need to do. And like, these are the way, like, this is the way that I need to start my day. So
Yeah, I totally get that. I'm a heavy sticky note person as well. Like as much as we have all these fancy tools, just being able to like write a list and have like a clear idea of what you're gonna go through for the day, that helps a lot.
Yes.
So when do you get around to going in your inbox? Is it something that you say for the last part of the day, or is it something that you just check periodically?
I have to say, all that being said, I am also very easily distracted. But like when I'm really focused and in the zone, I do tend to like miss all those emails and then also miss all the messages in our messaging app. And then sometimes I'll miss meetings because I don't see the notifications. I'm just like very, very in the zone. But I do like to check it always at the beginning of the day. And then also like probably the middle of the day as well as the end of the day, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. If I feel like I need to get back to something and I'm probably going to forget, like that's why the paper to-do list is so helpful for me. So I can also write down like additional notes, like I'll make sure to like check this email or respond to this person later.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, when it comes to their inbox, they feel like they have to be like very tech savvy. They need to have like this online checklist or this online app to help them to go through their workload. But as simple as just writing things down in order and just like going through, whether or not you get distracted, the list helps you to refocus. So I think that's also a good tip in itself for a lot of people who feel like they might feel overwhelmed with like getting the latest app or productivity tracking things. Sometimes it can be as simple as just making a list.
Yes.
Nice. All right. So I want to also know when it comes to your inbox or getting into somebody's inbox, what are some things that you would like to see professionals do when they're using email for business? Or let me rephrase that to say, what are some things that you would like to see people do more of that you don't see them doing when it comes to sending emails?
I would say in general, when reaching out, just like person to person, just making sure that you make that connection with that person of like why you're reaching them, especially if you don't actually already have a relationship with them. Just like, what is your purpose of emailing them? Like, make it worth their time. don't make it seem like you're trying to sell or market something, like what's in it for them, basically. I get a lot of emails, and honestly, like I just delete them, but there are some that do catch my eye, especially if they're really frank and honest with me about why they're reaching out to me. And it doesn't seem like they're trying to be clever, because it's like, I know what you're doing. I'm in email space. Like, don't do that to me.
Right.
Just straight with me, please.
And it's even harder when you do marketing. Like it's harder to be sold to in
Yeah,
any.
I'm always so skeptical. It's like, is this real? Or like, so when something feels genuine to me, like that's what stands out to me.
Nice, nice, genuinity, and that also translates to when people are sending business emails as well.
Yeah, so like if we're talking about marketing emails, it's definitely about that relationship with your subscriber. I think a lot of times we tend to forget, because it's such like people just send or blast emails, which I hate that. But they forget that it's still a very one-to-one channel. Like, yes, you're sending to a lot of email addresses, but to that subscriber, it's just that email from you to them. And so how can you make that authentic connection?
Yeah, and that's a lot. That's really what most of our email experts have covered. And I'm wondering, why is it so hard? And I'm just gonna throw a curveball at you. Why is it so hard when people are sending one-to-one emails and marketing emails that they miss the genuinity mark? Like it's right there. It's really simple, but it's something that a lot of people just don't do. Why is that?
I think it's two things: time and then also data. When you're under pressure to always deliver, especially through the email marketing channel, because people have this perception that it's easy, because it is. Like, you just write something and then you just send it out. But it still needs to have that care that you give to other marketing channels. Like, you can easily destroy a relationship before it's even begun if you don't take the time to really think about who you're sending to, why you're sending to them. Should you even be sending them this email? Like, maybe not. Maybe this is not the best way to reach them. And then the data aspect too. Like, a lot of what helps with the whole personalization thing is having the data to personalize. But if you don't have the right data, you don't know how to personalize it, right? That's why we see a lot of situations where emails are sent with like even the wrong first name.
Right.
Or yeah, and that's it's just like, as an email marketer, I'm like, I totally get it. I'm sorry, that sucks. But like, from a subscriber point of view, like they don't know, so they just see you making that mistake, and that hurts how they perceive your brand.
100%. Yes, that's so true. So, what I'm trying to wrap to my head is that, like, because of time, because of data, but then it also comes down to, all right, what about the copy? How can we also use the copy of our emails to make a better connection with people?
So one thing that I always really like to think about it as is like a human to human connection. We're always so stuck in the mindset of like, oh, we're a business, or we are a marketer or a salesperson, that we sometimes forget that, duh, we are people too. And like, do we want to receive emails like this? No. So why don't you talk to your subscribers, talk to the people you're reaching out to like you would talk to a friend. And it obviously depends on your brand. Like,
Right.
like, if you're not like a super irreverent brand or anything, like talking like that could be a little bit off-putting, but you can still be conversational, but also professional.
That's so true. Even if you're a B2B, which is a business to business company, you can still talk to your professional or corporate target audience by, relating to them with what they're going through without seeming too soppy or unprofessional. That's,
Yeah, because you forget, like, there's a human on the other side of that. You're not talking to a business, you're talking to the person behind that brand.
and that's true. And I think a lot of business owners or entrepreneurs, or even people who are sending the personal emails, they just think, okay, this is just an email. It doesn't get open. What's the response rate? What's the data like? Am I going to get what I want? And instead, what do you think we should be thinking on once we press send on that email?
I would say looking beyond those surface level metrics, especially with like the whole mail privacy protection thing, people, being so used to focusing on things like open rates. I would say like even click rates, like, is that enough to tell you the story of whether this is resonating with your, with your contacts or not? So like a lot of the things that I like to look at, like, how are people engaging with you on social media? Or are they actually doing the thing you want them to do? Like, are they replying to you? If they're replying to your emails, what kind of responses are you getting? Are they negative, positive? Are you asking for feedback? Are they, and like I said, like, are they converting the way you want them to, like doing the thing, taking the survey, buying whatever it is that you want? Because they're not just buying or a service or a product from you, they're buying like the feeling that they get from it.
Yeah.
What is the reason that they're doing it? And so being able to get like that qualitative data, I think, is so important.
Sure. I think Seth Godin said that people don't necessarily buy products, they buy feelings that the product or the service gives them. So instead of like, I'm not just buying a hammer, I'm buying a hammer because it makes me feel handy, or I can fix something that I want to fix that makes me feel good and accomplished. In that kind of sense, that's where you're going for.
Yeah, like people want to support brands with causes that like they also support. So it's not like just that brand, but also like their values. So like for me, if I were buying a hammer, I would want to think like, what is the brand who is producing this hammer? Like, is what they're doing something that I want to support, like in how they treat their employees, in their whole manufacturing process? Because like something that I really care about is like sustainability. So like, is this a sustainably made hammer?
Yes.
And if not, then I want to look for the hammer, even if it's like the exact same quality hammer, like I'm just gonna, pound a nail into the wall, like it performs the same thing, but I care that this hammer is like sustainably made.
And like as you said, we're sending emails to human beings, and each human being has that want or need or requirement in what's in it for them in the email. And I think again, like perfect example, your requirement is this a sustainably made hammer? Is this really for me?
Mhm.
Nice. What's a quick tip that you would give to entrepreneurs who are sending out emails for business?
So I feel like I don't know if this is like maybe too technical for entrepreneurs, but something that I see, well, I guess two things. Two things that I see a lot from entrepreneurs and small businesses when it comes to email is one, all image emails. I see that a lot from people. And I think it's just because it's so easy to just put something together, whether versus trying to figure out how to code something so that it's live text. But it's a huge accessibility issue and limits the audience that you're reaching when something is all images, because images can be blocked.
Yeah.
Lots of email clients block images by default. And a lot of like corporate companies, for example, could just like block images for like spam filtering issues.
Yeah, safety reason.
And then the other thing that I see a lot is they're unsubscribe. Like maybe they don't even have like a preference center at all. And so I think it would be so helpful just to even have that set up.
For preference, like when you click the unsubscribe button, you see, would you like an email once a week, once a month, or in this topic or in this category?
Like it does not have to be complex at all. Like even just giving that choice of frequency or like one piece of content would be better than just unsubscribing from all. But I see so few brands, especially like the entrepreneurs and the smaller businesses, not taking advantage of that. And again, it does not have to be difficult or complex. Just giving like even just one extra choice can make a really big difference.
Nice. Okay, so my final question for you is, well, maybe not final, but the big question I have for you, I should say, is what do you see happening for the email industry or email culture for 2022? I know that a lot of our experts have covered the privacy policy and how it affects and metrics that they should look for, but apart from the upcoming privacy war between Facebook and Apple and just the power of the subscribers inbox, what's something else that we should probably keep our eyes open for that's going to happen in 2022, or something that you would like to see in 2022?
I mean, it may have already been covered by one of your other experts, but something that I think is really important for now, and then especially in 2022 and beyond, would just be more email personalization. I mean, I've touched on this in your previous questions, but I think it's just so important, especially with everything that's been going on, like in the past year and a half. Like people are really like, they're really struggling with things, like whether that's like with COVID-19 or like racial inequities, things like that. Like their life, people are just more realizing like their personal life is more important to them, yes,
Yeah.
than their work life. So you always have to remember, like, how can you think about, I guess, okay, so I guess beyond personalization, really empathy is probably the better thing. But using empathy to personalize your messaging in your emails and making that connection with the people that you're emailing to, like, how is it that what are they dealing with? How can you help them? If you can help them, maybe don't email them, or like take a step back or rethink your strategy. Like instead of trying to sell to them, what kind of content can you give them to make their lives better?
That's so true, because a lot of brands got called out for being very blind or unaware to all of the shifts that we went through, because we went through a lot of global shifts where we're going through a pandemic, people might be losing their jobs, people actually lose their jobs, all the things that were going on throughout the world. And people were still sending emails. So as someone who is, just say hypothetically, someone in our audience who is just an entrepreneur, small business owner, and they want to put more empathy in what they do, but they don't want to come off as fake. What's one tip that you would give them to navigate in that email? Because I know some brands actually kind of use empathy to push sales. And then there's some brands that genuinely show empathy through their emails, with their customers, with the people who are receiving their emails. What's one way that you can help them so that they don't like um, have good intentions but bad reactions?
Yeah. Well, one, I would ask, or you should ask yourself, is this something that you should even talk about? Like, do you feel like you should be a part of this conversation? And I think a good way to look at that is to look at your audience base. Like if you have social media, for example, that's always a good way to see like how are people engaging with your brand, like what are the things that matter to them. And then so like if it is something that you like based on that research, you feel like you should speak about, definitely don't use it as a moment to sell something. Because that can have a major backlash, especially since this is like the age of cancel culture. You don't want to get canceled. So if you feel like you do want to say something, I think a good way to go about it is always amplifying the voices of your audience. So instead of tooting your own horn and talking about all the great things you're doing to do blah, 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 like how can you help your community? What are you doing to help your community, and raising their voices up instead of yours?
Yeah, that's doable. That's actionable. Yeah.
It's
Thank
pretty easy because they're basically doing the work for you. Like,
That's true. That's true. I think sometimes companies feel like maybe they're too small or they're too big to ask their own customers or followers what they want to see more from them.
No, okay, so honestly, I feel like small businesses have the upper hand because they're much more nimble and closer to the ground and closer to their community, versus the bigger brands. So, I mean, I think that's an advantage.
Definitely. Nice. Nice. Thank you so much. Do you have any last comments or any projects that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, so our state of email research is something that we do annually. And we always ask a lot of great questions in it just to kind of get an idea of like what the email community is doing, what the email industry is doing. So that way we can share those results in a lot of different reports, like state of email, state of ESP, state of email workflows, so on and so forth. And it's a great way to benchmark what you're doing against your peers and just seeing what the latest trends and insights are.
Okay, so for anyone who wants to know more, the link is in the description below. So we'll work with that. That's fine, accessible. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your expertise, really give some advice about both being in your personal inbox and also just using marketing to reach your business. I think those are really two important things when it comes to your inbox. And yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So that's a wrap for this episode of Ask the Email Expert. And you guys, if you want to see more videos, be sure to stay until after this video to see some of our playlists.